Recently, I have been considering learning Arabic language, and it got me thinking, if I wanted to learn a new language from start to finish, how would I do it? I did some research. I thought about how I learned English on my own. I extracted some lessons from it, and I came up with a 10-step method that anyone can use to learn any language for free. The first step is to start with why. Before you start learning a language, you need to make sure that you know the reason why you're doing it. Knowing your why, knowing the reason behind learning something, gives you a lot of motivation to learn that thing. When I decided to learn English, my reason was that I wanted to make some friends because I was feeling alone, and also I wanted to talk with people from different countries and explore different cultures. So that was my why, that was my reason. And this gave me a lot of motivation when things got difficult in my learning journey. If you want to learn a language, like English for example, ask yourself, why are you doing it? What's the reason behind it? Are you learning this language because someone else is telling you to? Or are you learning it because it will genuinely make you happy? Answering these simple questions will give you a goal and a direction that you can work towards. The second step is to make a daily routine. It's one thing to say that, oh, I want to learn English, I want to learn Arabic in 6 months. But if you want to achieve that goal, if you want to achieve something, you have to make a plan for it. You have to make a schedule for it. Big achievements are a combination of small and daily habits. That's why you have to set aside some time for learning the language you want to learn. I recommend spending at least 2 hours a day if you are a very busy person. But if you have a lot of free time, then 4 hours a day of learning that language will help you get fluent in that language faster. Stop scrolling on Instagram and TikTok, instead spend that time on learning the language you want to learn. Also, make a timetable for it. Will you study that language in the morning or after lunch or in the evening? The third step is to learn the basics. If you're starting from zero, then you need to know the basics. Learn basic phrases like saying hello, saying how are you, thank you, I love you, I hate you, I really appreciate you, thanks for helping me, you're welcome. I know these are like super basic phrases, but that's what you need to learn when you're just getting started. Also, learn to introduce yourself in that language. In every conversation, you need to introduce yourself. So it's important to learn it in advance. I have a younger sister. She asked me to teach her some English, and I started teaching her, some basic phrases. Also, she learned to introduce herself in English in school. She still cannot hold a conversation, but she's learning and improving. This learning the basics step should not take you more than a month. Once you learn some basic phrases and you learn how to introduce yourself, the next step is to pick something to watch. From my English learning journey, one lesson I learned is that we learn a language through acquisition. We learn it through consuming it. And there's a theory called the language acquisition theory that supports my statement. One way to consume a language is to do a lot of listening. If you think about it, that's how we learned our native language as well. When we were kids, we would listen to our parents and siblings talk, and that's how we learned most of the phrases and the sentences we can now say. The point is, pick something to watch, whether it's watching YouTube videos, watching movies, watching animes, I don't care what it is. Just pick something and watch something that you enjoy watching. If you don't understand, which you won't in the beginning, then try turning on the subtitles. They will help you a lot. But even if you don't understand 100% with the subtitles, then it's okay. You will improve, you will learn new words, and then you will understand more. Pick something to watch for at least an hour a day. The next step is to read children's books. The thing about children's books is that they're super easy and simple. They're designed for children. There are no complex idioms and structures. They're designed very simply and you can read them and understand them easily. I bought few children's story books for my sister and she reads them in her free time, and whenever she doesn't understand a word, she comes up to me and I explain it to her. And that's how she really learns vocabulary and phrases. If you don't have someone like that who can explain words for you, then you can use a dictionary like a Cambridge or Oxford dictionary, or you can just Google a word and it will give you its definition. So read children's books. You can get them from a local bookstore or you can just get them from Amazon. The sixth step to learning a language is to summarize videos, movies, or books that you read. This is a great method to practice your speaking. In the beginning, when your level is not too high, you cannot go out and have a conversation with someone because it's really scary. You might get stuck. You're really nervous. That's why summarizing is the best method to practice your speaking as a beginner. In the fourth step, if you've picked something to watch, whether it's YouTube videos, movies, or books, when you finish that thing, when you finish watching a movie or when you finish watching a video or reading a book, I want you to summarize it in your own words. So if you finish watching a movie, take like 10 minutes and summarize that movie in your own words. Talk with yourself about that movie. It's very easy. Don't worry about making mistakes because there is no one to judge you. You can do this with anything. You can do this with a YouTube video. Maybe you can summarize this video after you finish watching it. You don't have to write the summary, although it's great, but you can just talk about it and that's enough. The next step is to find a speaking partner. The summarizing technique I just talked about is great for beginners, but once you get to a good level in English, you have to talk with real people. Because if you don't talk with others, if you only talk with yourself, then who will correct your mistakes? How will you know if what you're saying is correct? You might be making a mistake, but you don't know about it. But if you talk with people, people give you feedback. They point out your mistakes. You improve them, you correct them, and that's how you improve. But how do you find a speaking partner? There's a paid way and a free way of doing this. The paid way is to take classes on platforms like italki or Cambly. It's not too expensive. You pay for an every hour-long conversation you have there. But if you don't want to invest in a speaking partner, that's okay. You can find speaking partners in different Facebook groups. All you have to do is join Facebook groups about your hobbies. Make sure those groups are in your target language. Once you join them, post there, interact with other learners, text them. Don't hesitate to ask people for having a call with you. But please be aware of bad people and scammers. There are a lot of them on Facebook. Personally, I have met most of my friends in different Facebook groups. I would join groups, then I would interact with people there. If I would really connect with someone, I would text them and we would start chatting and then we would become friends. So find yourself a speaking partner or partners and practice with them to improve your speaking. If you practice with them daily, that's awesome, that's great. But if not, then practicing a few times a week is okay. The next step to learning a language is to learn 5 new words each day. You know that vocabulary is everything, right? The more words you know, the better you will be at conveying a message in the language you're learning. A lot of teachers say you have to know 3,000 words in a language to speak it fluently. That's true, I agree with that. I recommend learning at least 5 new words each day. If you can learn more than that, that's great, but 5 is like must. I have a small notebook for learning and remembering new words in English. Every time I learn a new word, I write it down in that notebook along with its definition. It helps me remember the word better, plus also I can review that word anytime I want. You can also use apps like Anki or flashcards for learning new words, but personally I like to write words down in an actual notebook. Remember that if you don't use the words you learn, you lose them. So when you learn like 5 words a day, make sure you use all of them in the conversation you have. The ninth step to learning a language is to choose and learn an accent. I know that accent is not the most important thing. Fluency is when you are a beginner. But once you get to a certain level in English, like let's say upper intermediate or advanced, then you have to choose an accent for yourself. When my English got to a high level, I started working on my accent because I knew that if I have an American or British accent, people will understand me better. If I sit here and start talking with you in my local Pakistani accent, then most of you watching this will not understand me 100%. That's why I think having and getting an accent is important. The way you improve your accent is by following imitation method. You listen to somebody, anyone, a YouTuber or a celebrity whose accent you want to copy. You listen to them. You pay attention to how they pronounce words, how they say sentences, and then when you have a conversation, you try to copy them. You try to sound like them. I have tried this method with many American celebrities, and I felt that by doing this, I picked up some American accent. The last tip is to balance learning and fun. I know it's important to work hard and push yourself because progress happens when you become uncomfortable. But don't forget to enjoy your learning process. Learning a language is a never ending process, it's an infinite game. There are two types of games in life. There are finite games and infinite games. Volleyball, football, or soccer and cricket are finite games. The goal of this type of game is to win the game. But the goal of an infinite game is to continue playing the game. Learning a language is an infinite game. Starting a YouTube channel is an infinite game. There is no finishing line. You always have to improve and get better. That's why it's important to have fun when you are playing an infinite game. When I was learning English, I did not take it too seriously. I was not super ambitious about it. I was just enjoying the process. I was making friends, I was talking with them, I was watching movies and animes, and that's how I really improved my English. Of course, I knew where I was going. I knew I had a goal. I wanted to become fluent, but I was not focused on that goal. I was not focused on the destination. Rather, I was focusing on my journey. I would look forward to having a conversation with my friend rather than considering it a task that I had to do. The point is, work hard, get better, make progress, spend more time learning, but don't forget to have fun along the way. Enjoy the process, take breaks when you need to. Okay, I hope you have learned something from this class. If you want to see similar videos in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below. Lots of love, and I'll see you in the next lesson.